Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Coffee Roaster Warm Sessions podcast. In this episode, we're talking about the U.S. aeropress championships. Now, just about a week ago, Sergey and I competed in the regional Seattle aeropress championships. It was a ton of fun, but it did come with a few challenges. And this episode is all about talking about our recipe, what we did during practice, some of the challenges that we ran into, and eventually how the whole event came out being. Anyways, let's get into this. Before we get into it, let's pour some batches always. Not any aeropress on the pod.
Kind of smells like an Ethiopian coffee. I don't know. I have no idea what coffee this is.
Very nice. Very nice. Very pleasant. Very great. Just some nice florals, nice like a starbursty flavor to it. A little bit of tart, a little bit of like candied fruit.
I would say it's very juicy.
Yeah, very nice.
It also has like these 3 distinct layers. Like as soon as I took a first sip, like there's like 3 layers to the flavor. I don't know how to describe them other than the fact like the first thing I saw when I like drank it was like almost like a gradient like you would for like colors, you know what I mean? You have the same color, but 3 distinct gradients of the color from light to dark. So it had like that dynamic flavor to it. But the acidity is super nice.
Yeah, it's very, very pleasant. Very pleasant. I think probably a little too developed for me. Just a hair, you know. I'd go a little lighter. But
where are you tasting that?
This is very nice.
That too developed flavor. Where are you picking that up? At what point in the sip?
On the front end, and a little bit in the aftertaste. Yeah. Like you have this thick like the closest thing I can get to it, explain it, and it's not it because this flavor note is not bad in itself, but it's like a burnt. It's like a burnt sugar taste. Yeah. And it kind of clouds it, clouds the coffee a little bit, clouds up the flavor notes, and overtakes it a little bit. Yep. And you're left with like more of that, like, I don't know. Again, this is just not a good explainer, but yeah, it's like a burnt sugar, even though when I see burnt sugar on a flavor note on a bag, it's not bad. It can be really, really tasty and pleasant. Just that it's got this, and it's pretty thick.
Yeah.
And like big and yeah, and it's got that burnt sugar flavor that is kind of clouding, muddying up. Even though there's a lot of complexity in here as well. Like I think the green is actually really nice. Like there's a lot of good stuff in this coffee. I just think that if you take it lighter, you might take that burnt sugary bigness and lean into a little bit of more of that fruit zip, like that, the juiciness, the acidity, whereas actually all the stuff that I'm enjoying, like that's the part that I'm not enjoying, is that thick kind of forward driven punchiness that's muddying up the cup.
The first thing you said, you did pick up some kind of floral essence on the nose in the beginning, right? When it was hotter, which I agree. I think the center of this coffee is my favorite, like right in the middle. That's why I described it as a gradient. Like I just see 3 bands, like almost like a light, almost white, like a grayish, and then like a dark gray, not like a black, but I think that's how the coffee is structured, which is interesting in one way, and then also probably not my major preference. It's almost too rigid. There's ridges in the coffee, in the flavor of the coffee, which when it comes to like a positive aftertaste, what I really, really enjoy about the positive, like a coffee that has phenomenal aftertaste is a coffee that you can taste the complexity on the aftertaste. So when it lingers in your mouth, you're actually tasting all of the initial flavors. It's almost like you bottled them up in a little jar and then you opened it and it's in the air, right? On this cup, it has very strong powerful aftertaste, but you're right. The aftertaste seems to lean a little more on that burnt sugar caramely aspect to it.
It's I think it's brewed decently.
I would not say this is over extracted.
But what you're getting on the aftertaste is this big, sweet, round, like thickness that has a little bit of bitterness on it.
Yeah.
But it's not like a bitterness where you're over extracted. Like it is a properly extracted, I think, cup.
Yeah.
But it's that comes in, and that's what I don't enjoy. Where like if you lean towards coffees that are just, again, this is like where we weren't supposed to talk about this, but this is very nitpicky. This is like this is a great cup. I'm gonna enjoy the heck out of these 250 grams that I'm gonna have. But when talking about that, it's like if you go slightly lighter, you tend to take some of that away, and it might come at a cost of sweetness.
Yeah.
So you won't have that thickness, the body.
Yeah, it'll dumb down the body.
It'll cut it out. But you do expose a cleaner flavor profile, something that's more complex, clear, juicy. It's just, but it's definitely, you're gonna end up leaning more into that acidity. So if you like some of the sweeter flavor profiles and you want something that's thicker body, this is it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything. This is like a great roast of it. But just tasting those florals and that interesting fruit and the candied aspects of this, I'm like, oh, this is like a really great green that I would be intrigued to see, like, what does that taste like pushed on the other side. But
if we were dialing in this roast, and if this was one of our dial-in roasts, I would probably say like, oh, we need to, like you said, like clean up that tail end of the flavor, not of the roast, but maybe of the roast. I don't know, you know, but clean up that like back end of the thing and bring all of the complexity we taste in the beginning to linger in the aftertaste.
Yeah.
So
So this is a coffee from Passenger. This is a Ecuador Cedra, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm impressed. First time I'm having this coffee, so it's very nice, very nice. I have no complaints. So
it's gone.
Yeah, it's very, very good, very good. So if you're looking for a coffee to buy, that's not our coffee.
Yeah.
And you like the descriptor, then that might be a coffee you might want to pick up. So, but anyways, so last weekend we did the regional aeropress championship out in Seattle, which was fun. It was cool. It was one of the the World Aeropress Championship bigger event because of their 20th anniversary or something, or 25th.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
And so pretty fun, pretty exciting. Lots of good stuff that we'll get into. Had a few people come up to me that are listeners of the podcast, which is great. So if you're listening to this, thanks for saying hi.
Yep.
That was fun. Lots of good people there. Lots of very skilled people, lots of talented, just a good bunch of people. And it was great that there was so many people that showed up. Like when I competed last year at Onyx, it was like, I don't know. It was like,
oh, really?
It was like the competitors and like 5 more people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
10 more people.
So this was definitely
this wasn't even the national. But this was, I mean, it was packed out. But anyways, first impressions.
Yeah, I was going to say, the range of people that came to this event. I mean, Mike Cannon flew in from, oh gosh, I forgot where. Oh shoot, Mike, sorry about that. From Michigan. That's right. Yeah. Flew in from Michigan. And then there was a competitor that was on in my bracket that flew in from Hawaii. I felt like that was pretty cool. Like a lot of people showed up to the Seattle one, which was super exciting to be able to compete against people not only from, your little radius of a few counties in Western Washington. That made it super fun. And then the other thing is, like you said, it had good energy in the building in general. And the organization of the whole event was just like solid. You and I were just talking about that beforehand, is the fact that I got in my car at 4:30 and the event was supposed to end at 5. Like everything went very, very well.
Yeah.
It felt like more of, and I'm not saying that all US Coffee Champs competitions stick to the schedule, but it felt that level of organization, like very well. Like I think Cafe Vita, KXB, the squad did a really good job in putting together the event and making sure that it flowed on schedule.
Yep.
There weren't any hiccups. I didn't see any hiccups, at least. I thought everything was organized really well, even when in the way they moved. So the way they moved competitors from the prep to that table where you kind of queued up, and then when you went on stage, felt a lot like the structure that I experienced at US Coffee Champs. So I thought it was dialed. I thought it was super sick. I enjoyed it a lot. So for sure.
Yeah, it was overall great. What do you think? Let's dive into a little bit about like the prep, and then we'll go into like the competition itself, how that went, and then afterwards. But what was prep looking like to you? What'd you think of the coffee? Yeah, any challenges, any difficulties, any wins? What do you think?
The biggest challenge was the grinder for me. Two things: between the grinder and the coffee arriving really late. I got the coffee 4 days before competition. So, and it was roasted 6 days before competition.
Which is a bummer.
It's a very big bummer. I think if I had a survey to fill out, that was probably the biggest challenge, and I think that's like it should have been fixed.
And the reason why, it's, I mean, no knock to Vita or anybody, it's just that coffee got held up in customs, and they weren't able to get it in, and then they had to troubleshoot and find something last minute. So anyways, but
that was the challenge. Apart from that, on a personal level, the hand grinder thing got me, I'll be honest. And I don't know if that's a change of rules, or I don't know why that's the case.
Sergi is referring to only using hand grinder, so you couldn't bring in an electric grinder. It has to be hand grinder.
Yep. I practiced a lot on my ode before getting the actual hand grinder, or getting the hand grinder for me, because I don't have one anymore. I sold my Comandante, and then I borrowed your Comandante Trailmaster, which was a great grinder. But switching from the ode to the hand grinder, I had to be dialed. I had 10 seconds to spare on every single trial run I ran with my recipe to make sure that I got it on time. And that's obviously because my recipe requires 2 different grind sizes. So the challenge was like, how can you grind everything quick enough? And then I also, when I read the instructions and the rules, I, for some reason, thought that you couldn't plug in they wouldn't allow you to plug in the kettle before the timer. You couldn't start the kettle. So I was practicing the whole time, trying to figure out, how do I get my water up to temp without wasting a lot of time? So I prepped for that, and then we got there and they were like, oh yeah, you can warm up your kettle in the pre-stage, and then it'll be warm, and then you just move the warm kettle, plug it in, and it can stay warm before the clock goes to time. So that was a big relief. But it did put me in this headspace where I was more or less thinking about my routine and how to execute everything on time and hit the extraction times correct. That was challenging.
That was, I think, getting the coffee a little late was a bummer. Both for like freshness wise and then run through wise. I mean, with my schedule, is like, if I got it like 5 days before, it's not that you have 5 days to prep, because
5
like
8
normal
hour
life.
days.
So that was a little unfortunate, but I know like stuff happens, so I'm not upset. I will say this, I was actually pretty impressed with the roast. Like, not my preferred roast style. Again, a little too developed for me, for my just preference wise. But as a coffee roasted by Vita, just as like here's just a generic solid roast that can be used for a competition like this, I thought it was great. It was like, it wasn't too overly roasted where like some competitions in the past that we've had, and the coffee wasn't like overly baggy, where I've had that in the past as well. It was just solid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Plus it was a
nothing.
Cedra.
Yeah, and nothing, nothing to write home about, but nothing extraordinary. But it was the fact that there wasn't anything bad necessarily, which has made the practice a little bit more pleasing and possible to get warmed up. But yeah, so just ran through. I think I dialed in my aeropress recipe literally the night before, or the night before. And funny enough, I had a recipe that I was like, I don't know if I like this. And I was like, maybe I should just go watch one of my YouTube videos. And I watched my own YouTube video and was like, cool, I'm going to follow that recipe, and changed it. And that was my recipe that I used. So I was like, could have just started there from the the beginning. So
yeah, I think for me, I did use the same method as I did last year. But the problem was, I dialed in according to a cupping, and I will not make that mistake again. That was just a big mistake. And I did it last year and it cost me, and I did it this year and it cost me.
Why is that a mistake?
Because the coffee in a cupping is not exactly what the judges were looking for. Both competitions now. The coffee in the cupping to me tasted like it was heavier on the sweetness. I didn't get as much of this like punchy acidity, but every cup I tasted from someone who won, because we got to taste other competitors' coffees when they won. Their coffee was way more delicate, had way more florality, had way more acidity than mine, way more. And remember when I brewed that decaf for you, and you were like, dude, this is so bright. And I was all of my brews pre-competition coffee, pre-cupping, were all on the brighter side of things. And then when I cupped it, I was like, oh, that's what the coffee tastes like? Well, I'm going to brew it to what it tastes like. And that's what I was aiming for. Did I execute it well? I don't know. But did everyone who tastes my coffee says, oh, this leans so much on the sweetness rather than the acidity? That was all the feedback I got from people.
Interesting that like I also cupped it and I dialed in according to the cupping. Because I was like, I don't like my first few brews. I was like, I'm not really enjoying this. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go cup it because that's just an unbiased presentation of the coffee. So what should I at least be? What's the ballpark I should be aiming for? Like I can't be like, oh man, why am I not getting watermelon on these brews? Well. I don't know, maybe because you cupped it and it's not there. Like, exactly. So, but I think, I think cupping is good. At least it helped me, but you definitely have to, choose how you're going to dial in the recipe, what direction you're going to in terms of, do you want to lean more on the sweeter side, on the more brighter acidity side? Are you going to go for, a thinner body, or are you going to go for a fuller, thicker body? I think that's actually one of the fun things about like the aeropress competition, is because everybody gets the same coffee, and aeropress is just such a weird brewer, but you can just take it any direction you want.
Right.
And you can present coffees in a different way, whatever way you want. And I don't know, that's the fun part about it. So.
Yeah, I think the whole idea of like, and I learned this, like I felt like it hit home after this competition for me, is like when you're cupping a coffee, you're basically observing the coffee for itself. You're looking at it and saying, there's this there, there's that there.
Yeah.
When you're brewing a coffee, especially in competition, you should be thinking, how do you want to present this coffee to the judges? And it's almost like you have creative freedom to play with the coffee and be like, hey, I want to highlight this, I want to take away this, I want to do this, which is not the goal of a cupping, right? I think I was thinking about the coffee way too one-dimensional, and that cost me. If I would have thought about it a little, because I talked to Gray for a while, and they were telling me like just how they process their dialing method, and I'm like, that makes sense. And Gray's a seasoned competitor; they know what they're talking about. So taking their opinion on that, and then being like, man, I really learned. I learned a lot from this competition. Like next time when I'm going to compete, I'm going to think about the coffee as in like, oh, this is the cupping is basically my color palette and my canvas. What do I want to draw? What do I want the judges to see from my extraction of this coffee? And I didn't do that.
Yeah, I think that just this is just a side note apart from the competition, but maybe for somebody brewing coffee at home. This is why to a certain extent recipes are helpful and sometimes they're not. Like you could. If you're talking about like a V60, you're brewing coffee, you could have like a dialed in 1 to 14 recipe, and you could have a dialed in 1 to 18, yes. 1 to 19 recipe. Will your cup presentation taste significantly different? 100%. That also doesn't mean that one is poorly brewed and one is better brewed, because if you technically want something that's going to be a little bit more thicker, maybe on the sweeter side, you're going to choose to brew hoping to highlight that, versus somebody who maybe wants something that's more tea-like, that's more very delicate, very, not to say like watered down, but more thinner on the mouthfeel. You're gonna go in that direction. So that's just something to keep in mind, that there's multiple ways to get technically a good extraction with very different presentations. And by good extraction, I'm saying like, it doesn't mean it's going to be like the most extracted. Like Lane sometimes says like, hey, says like, hey, I don't like the most extracted coffee.
23%.
Yeah, 23% or whatever. So it's like stuff like that where it's like, you're really just looking for where do you enjoy your preference. And I think that's also where like why people obsess over grinders and burst sets is just presentation. Like you could have a well extracted, good brewed coffee, but it's going to be presented a little bit differently. And I think that's a part of like everything you're saying about the aeropress competition. Like what direction do you want to take something? And you have that freedom to present. So I don't know.
Exactly. And now you had to brew a lot, actually. You brewed what, 5 times? 4 times?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because like for those last 2 rounds for 3rd place, you had to like go back and forth, was that the same in your last year's competition?
No. This was, so I won the first round. I think I lost the second round, which was the semifinals. And then I had to brew against another person who's in the semifinal round. And then because I beat them, I brewed against a second semifinalist to fight for 3rd place.
Right.
And then I brewed against
so 5
for 3rd place. And then that's what I ended up winning. So
and you didn't change anything up.
So
the only piece of
what's upsetting though, that the round that I lost, I was so pressed for time, and partially because my kettle wasn't going.
My kettle.
Yeah, wasn't going to temp. It stalled at like 194, and I need it at 197, and I'm like trying to turn it, and I'm losing time, and at the end of the time, I'm like, I literally had like 5 seconds, and I'm like trying to decant to cool it down, and then like it was like I was so thrown off. But if you lose, you can't have excuses. It's like whatever.
What water did you use?
I just made what I use pretty much mixing tap and perfect coffee water. I do a half and a half mixture.
Oh, I was telling people that you were using 3rd wave.
No.
Gotcha.
I was mixing, a half dose of perfect coffee water. Yeah. And then a half dose of a 1-to-1 ratio of tap water.
Of this tap water, the office one.
Yeah,
the Bellingham city water.
City water, because
no filter.
Yeah, it tends to go towards a little bit something. It tends to lean very sweet, And the perfect coffee water is like thin and accentuates like very lots of brightness. So when you mix them together, I don't know, I think
works.
it blends well.
Oh,
So
sick. Yeah.
so
A lot
yeah.
of people were using Apex. I saw that.
Yeah,
When I
yeah,
talked to a lot
yeah.
of people, it seems like that's what I want to check out next is use some Apex or Lotus
Yeah.
drops. So I think that was another thing. And finally, I think one of the intriguing things for me, the guy that got second place, did you see his grinder?
Dude, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, well, we should end it with this, with just the fact that the guy used
Insane.
a hario hand grinder, guys.
Yeah.
And took second.
That's insane.
That's extraordinary. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I was so confused when I was watching him brew. I also, in the first round when he was brewing, he was in the whole brewing time. He was behind both of the competitors. When it came to grinding, when it came to pouring the first drop of water, he was behind out of all of them. And then he finished first,
Yeah. I don't
like in the brewing process, and then he won it. And I was like, wait, what just happened? I was so confused watching
crazy.
him. I was like, wait, what? And was that his first?
I don't know. I don't know. But
He was also so blown away that he won.
Yeah,
He was like, what?
yeah.
What's going on? It was sick.
Yeah.
And he's like a 50-year-old man,
Yeah, home
maybe-ish,
barista.
if I'm like
Yeah.
guessing right. Yeah.
yeah. But
Wild.
I don't know. Take that. I don't know. You burr freaks.
I
What do you
know.
do about that? A hario hand grind. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And guys, mind you, the judges were actually
Seasoned.
spot on and very seasoned. Like these are competitors, judges, people who've been in the industry for a long time. Very good judges. And he just crushed, went straight up to the top.
Dude.
I wish he won. I
Yeah,
wish he
that
won.
would have been wild.
But
yeah, homie from Olympia won,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
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 So, anyways, that's it. That was fun. You know, yeah, I don't know. It was always fun to compete in aeropress and probably doing it again next year.
For sure. That was super fun.
Yeah. So, shout out, and big thanks to the people who threw the aeropress competition. It was awesome this year. Fun, exciting. Thanks to all the people who said hi, who listened to the pod, which was even cooler. But yeah, that's a wrap. As we always say, remember, reflect what's good.